guys, so we got another new bike to unbox today. This is the Ori by GoWow. You may have seen this bike here and there on the internet. We've seen it a couple of times at international motorcycle shows. It's modeled very closely off of the Cake caulk, which if you guys followed Cake's story, unfortunately they recently went bankrupt. That may have been because similar bike from Cake was about $11,000. So we're gonna take this bike, get it unboxed, get it built, go and ride it to see how good it is at its $5,500 price point. So with that said, let's get right into it, get this thing unboxed. Okay guys, here it is, the Ori by GoWow. It looks a little bit like an art project, but let's be honest, that's what's kind of cool about it. It doesn't look like every other small black bike out on the market. The most interesting thing about this bike is the specs. It sits directly between the 128-pound Sauron Light B and the 186-pound Sauron Ultra B. It is 160 pounds as it sits right now, just over 8 inches of travel front and rear. It doesn't look like it has a linkage, but it actually does. It has a 74 volt, 38 amp hour battery. So that's 2.8 kilowatt hours of range essentially. It's a 9 kilowatt bike. It's gonna be really interesting. We're probably gonna go and ride this with a Light B and an Ultra B just to kind of see where it fits. But even the price is right in the middle at $5,500. So really interesting bike. One other thing that's worth mentioning is the mobile app. We were just kind of going through it, setting up the bike. It's quite intuitive. So I'm going to talk you through the mobile app. It's very similar to the information that I see on the actual screen of the bike as well. So obviously I have my battery percentage. Interesting that this one's trying to calculate range. I want to take you through the different parameters. So sheep, a hound, a cheetah, and then a custom mode that I can actually edit here to change my power settings. I'm gonna give it a little bit more torque up front. Then on the scene, so A is default, B is basically trail, C is sand, and D is a wet mode. So I'll probably just keep that on default for now. Of course, I have different gears. That's just simply my speed, including setting the top speed of each individual mode. I've got my region settings here that I can change if I'd like to. I like to keep mine a little bit low. And then you can see I've got a few other things I can do. This looks like brake region. Now, charging power, that's kind of interesting. So that allows me to define how fast or how quickly I want that to actually charge. And then I've got a few riding statistics. We'll show this again maybe after we go for our first ride. It's kind of cool that they actually decided to put some tutorials in here that you can quickly go just to learn how to work the bike itself. So it's a really interesting bike. The only thing left to do now is just simply get it on the trail, go and ride it, see what we think, come back with our first impressions.
All right, so we're on the bike. Just kind of pumped it up to its highest power settings, see what it's like. Suspension's actually working pretty decent. Okay, so lanyard on, readies it up, makes a cute little noise. So far, what I've noticed is the foot pegs are useless. They are not sharp at all. So this right here is an indent, and that makes it hard to squeeze because the only contact point is right here instead of my entire boot. So I'm really missing a ton of contact on the frame, and that's just really making it difficult to stay on the bike, especially where the foot pegs don't work very well. But I will say the suspension on this thing works really good. I don't have any complaints about the suspension. The front end is a little bit low. I do want that to be higher, so 21-inch front wheel, some better brakes, and maybe some grip tape on the side, this thing will be actually a pretty good bike. So let's go for another rip. Because it looks like a KKE front fork, I wonder if it is a regular Sur-on front wheel, or if they did anything different spacing wise on it. Because if it's a regular Sur-on front wheel, I would love to put a 21-inch front wheel on that. Give it a go. Because the front end's so low and all your weight goes there, the bike is trying to push out on you pretty heavy. Which is once again why I need to really put an emphasis on getting that front end to be higher. I'm gonna go back on a rant about weight distribution of motorcycles. So GoWow on paper did a 50-50 weight distribution on this bike, which is pretty ideal. There's nothing wrong with that, but the weight distribution can't be focused on purely just paper. You need to put a rider on it. You need to put a rider that's taller than 4 foot tall, and have them go and ride the thing and tell you where they do and don't have traction. That is going to ultimately tell you the exact weight distribution that the bike needs to be, and how to set up the cockpit properly. Because if I get hard on the brakes on this bike, if I'm not way off the back of it, the front end dives too much. And where I normally want to be, which is a very attack, aggressive stance position, the bike... Y'all good?
Yeah, we're good.
Where I normally want to be, which is a very attack, aggressive stance position, puts my weight too far forward, which makes the front end want to wash out. So to finalize my rant on weight distribution, paper numbers only mean so much. You got to actually have a rider that knows what they're talking about to set up a bike properly. Because selling a bike right out of the box that I'm not comfortable on, and I've been riding it for over 7 miles now, and I'm still not very comfortable on it, is purely because of the weight distribution of the bike. I don't know, might be worth testing with higher bars and 21-inch front wheel, but that's just my thoughts on how the bike is stance. Let's talk through some price point stuff. You got a Sur-on Light BX, $4,500. You've got a Sur-on Ultra Beat, $6,500. This bike sits right in the middle of that, $5,500. And it actually is a very well put together bike. It's very quiet. Suspension's good. Surprised the linkage feels as good as it does. The box came with a ratchet wrench, which is very, very nice. They put some thought into the finer things about these bikes, which is cool because not a lot of companies do that. So with that being the case, quality of the bike itself is at a very good point for the price point. GoWow chasing DJ on an Ultra Beat. DJ's got no dust. I've got all of it. That's why I gotta stay right on his rear wheel in order to stay out of eye shot of that dust. DJ likes throwing up roofs, so. I'm so like pinned on this thing trying to keep up. Oh wow, DJ just plowed right through that. Whoa. Oh, he got away from me. Now I can't see through the dust. Kind of caught back up a little bit. Can't see again. Oh, taken out by a tree and brake sensors. So that is one thing. If you hit the brake lever on a tree, it cuts your power. That's kind of dangerous. Oh man, DJ. I was full pin, trying not to die. That was crazy.
I was like, oh, press here, go.
You're moving, dude.
You gotta go.
The moment I lost your rear wheel, couldn't see a thing.
Yeah.
I had to be like a foot away from you.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was fun.
Dude, that was killer.
All right, GoWow. First ride done with. We went. Let me get this lanyard to connect real quick. We went 13.4 miles. I'm at 51%. I started the ride at 98%. So battery wise, actually pretty good. Power of the bike felt good. It's got a high top speed. I just kind of let it go as fast as I could on the road back here, and it actually worked really well. Like, I'm surprised that the motor on it allows it to have such a good top speed. So power, everything along those lines, I'm really happy with. Not happy with the foot pegs. I don't even know if there's aftermarket options available right now. They're just not sharp enough at all, so I'm slipping off everywhere. The bike is very stink buggy, as well as the squeeze points. I mean, this curve right here gets rid of all your squeeze points. So all that I have is this small patch and a small patch with my knees to be able to hold onto the bike with my legs. Doesn't work very good. The seat's super long. I find myself sitting right here on the bike just about at all times. When I scoot forward, I've got nothing to grab up here with my legs either, so that's a little bit tricky. Suspension actually feels pretty good. I'm happy with the linkage and kind of the progressiveness of the rear shock on a trail right now. I'm interested to try it on a track, see what that feels like. But all in all, if the bike had slightly better brakes and wasn't as stink bugged forward, I think I'd be really happy riding this thing because the power of it's really good. So yeah, ultimately, I'd be really interested to see how it compares to other bikes on our test track and get a lap time done on it. So my next ride will be right there. All right, we are at our home track, Jordan River OHV in Salt Lake City, Utah. Got the GoWow here. You might notice something a little bit interesting is I have fit a 21-inch front wheel to it. So that is basically a KKE fork in the front with the same spacing as a Sur-on wheel. So I just put a Sur-on wheel on there. I did have to put a 220 front rotor, so just adapted the brake to that, but it all fits good. So I'm excited to try that, see if it makes the bike a little bit more comfortable, less stink buggy. But ultimately I'm out here just to get a lap time and put it on the Laptime Leaderboard against all of the other bikes. So let's do it. All right, I've ridden the bike a couple laps trying to get used to it. The 21-inch front wheel definitely makes the geometry feel better, but there is not enough travel and clearance in the front fork. So you would need to install another fork on it, something like the EXT Pharaoh that has a drop crown to allow for a little bit more spacing. But I think once you did that, the 21-inch wheel is well worth the feeling of the geometry. So with that being said, you're gonna hear some bottom outs, but all in all, let's try and do a hot lap and see how this goes. Timer's gonna start as soon as I cross the finish line. Right now. That was wide open, stretching that. Coming in hot. about as quick as I could go on this bike. I'll tell you what, it feels so much better with a 21-inch up front though.
Hey guys, so you saw a lap of the GoWow on our track. Now, we measure every single bike that we get to test on that track, so stay tuned for a future video where we're gonna show you guys our track time leaderboard and how every bike stacks up against each other. Now, as far as the GoWow, we know it was made to be a more casual bike. It's a really good trail bike, as you saw Brett keeping up with DJ on his Ultra B. But on the track, it put down nearly the exact same time as a stock Sur-Ron Light B, which I think is a good thing. We ride a lot of Sur-Rons. We love the geometry. We're very comfortable on them. So we could put down a pretty fast lap time. It was nice to see the GoWow match that time, even on its first time on the track. I think we can all agree that we live in an age where there's a bike for everyone. You can find a bike to suit your own riding style and needs at any point. I'll actually commend GoWow for trying to do things a little bit differently. I kind of like the art school type of design. I like that it's truly unique in the market, and I think for the right rider, this could be a really good bike for someone looking to be a little bit more casual, maybe commuting, sitting down more often, but it still has the chops on the trail to go and have fun when you want to. One thing that we do to almost every bike we touch is improve it ever so slightly. Handlebars, foot pegs, tires. This bike's really no different. The rear tire is great. It's already very meaty, it's a good size. Brett wished he had a 21-inch front on the trail. You saw him put one on for the track. There's a couple of things to think about that. One, we could put a better dirt or moto-oriented 19-inch tire on the front that would be ever so slightly bigger than this one and get better traction. We could also go with a smaller 21-inch front tire. The one that Brett rode was massive, probably the biggest made. It's better suited for an Ultra B. So just a couple takeaways there on the tire sizing. A couple of positive takeaways from the review was Brett's comments about the suspension. We all felt the same thing. The rear works surprisingly well with its linkage. This is a KKE Performance fork on the front, so that's an upgrade over all of the standard KKEs that you see on other brands. So it's nice to know that if you're gonna get a GoWow, that the suspension, probably good to go. So my key takeaways for this bike, this is a really unique bike for someone that's looking for something different. If you don't want just another, black bike out in the market, you want to maybe stand out a little bit, this is a great way to do it. It's also for more casual riders, so if you're sitting down most of the time, great bike for you. It's also a really good bike for a taller rider, again, sitting right in the middle of a Light B and an Ultra B from a weight perspective, but the same seat height as an Ultra B. Okay, so if you're interested in this exact model, it has our signature on it. This is a slightly, a scratch and dent cell from Brett riding it very aggressively on the track. We're gonna knock $500 off the price. The link is in the comments below. So jump on our website, check this out. If you like what we do, give us a like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more as we review other bikes that are coming into the channel.